PSK is making that green. People always say, what the hell does that mean? P is for the people who can't understand how one homeboy became a man. S for the way you scream and shout. One by one, I'm knocking you out. K is for the way his DJ's cutting. Other MCs, man, they ain't saying nothing. Rocking on to the break of dawn. I think cold money, your time is on. Ha! Ha! Shadapadow. Ooh-wee. This is called celebratory. Celebratory. Cerebral masturbatory. I'm trying to combine the words celebratory and masturbatory, which is something I'll do. I have a celebratory wank. I jerk my stupid smelly cock, and because good things happen. Hello, this is whiskey. I've had this before. This is from Wales. It's Welsh whiskey. I've done the whole thing. I got another bottle because I was in Wales recently with Sam. Point is, I won. I did it. Maybe a week or so ago, I was talking about how I'm going to be in the Illustrated World series illustration tournament, knockout tournament contest, which I have been a few years. I've done it a few years over the years. I've done it a few times over the years. Twice, in fact, including my first time. I came second place, losing to the guy named... Oh, it's getting me. I'm burping a lot already. Lawrence Hugh Burns. He was the guy who beat me twice, the two times I got into the final. And this time round, in the final, was me and Lawrence Hugh Burns again. 3 times that's happened. In out of now, I think four times I've been in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, out of 4 of the times I've entered the competition, 3 of them have been him and me as the last 2 competitors, which just goes to show we're obviously the best artists. And this time I was the best. This time I won. I won. I feel like it's an anticlimax, which I'm used to. But yeah, I won it. That was, after all these years. So that's cool, I guess. So bear with me while I become intolerable for at least a little bit. Yeah, give me a few days, a week at least, to just be an arsehole. Just to be like, I'm the best, everyone else is a piece of shit. I probably won't, I don't really... not to bring the mood way down, but even on the way home, after having won the contest, because I won, and then there was a bit of like, not really celebration, but just I was speaking on camera, a little Zoom call to be like, hey, I was asked how I did, and I was like, oh, it was alright, is how it is. And then there was some like administrative stuff, talking to the organizer about what to do now, respond to some emails, send an invoice, and get the trophy engraved and whatever. And then I left and I went home, and that was it. I was in London doing the thing, and then I had to get on the tube, and it took fucking like an hour and a half to get back to Waterloo, and then I had to get the train from there back to Southampton to get home. And then even on the way home, I was thinking like, oh, it hasn't filled the hole inside of me. This victory, this grand thing that's finally happened after years of competing, has in fact not filled the hole deep within me, and I still feel hollow and empty and at a loss any interest in life as we know it. Oh, so that's good to know, isn't it? At least there's some consistency in my life. Yeah, that's cool. So I was at Sam's. I mean, what a month. It started off with, I mean, my birthday, which I don't really care about. Birthday schmirthday is what I say. But it was a good birthday because I spent the whole week at Sam's house, as I would have described already. It was good, it was fun, it was well. Starfield, Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, we made fucking amazing ramen. Like, you wouldn't believe how fucking good the ramen was that we made. We made it last time I saw him in February, and we made it again, but like slightly different. It was like different meat and stuff, and it was fucking fantastic. Like, so fucking good, this ramen. We made MF Doom's villainous mac and cheese because there was a picture I saw online years ago, a picture of MF Doom holding some mac and cheese, and I think he was being interviewed, and he had said something about mac and cheese, and there was the recipe for the villainous mac and cheese, and so Sam and I made it, and I took it. If I can be fucked to put the picture up, I'll fucking find the picture, and look, it's me as I see. I put the Doom mask on, and I'm just like the MF Doom because we made the mac, and it was probably the best mac and cheese I've ever had in my whole fucking life. It was so good. But yeah, that was a killer week hanging out in Wales. Sam got me another bottle of this whiskey. So what better time to open it than later in the month? Barely, was it a week after I got back? Yeah, I got back, and then less than a full week later, I was off to the Illustrated World Series. I'm already slurring my words from all of this whiskey. And then I won the fucking thing. And the photo of me with the trophy I actually took. You'll have to excuse me because now, like I say, bear with me while I just be obnoxious. So I will be drawing at some point during this episode, but for now I just want to fucking brag about the fact that I'm a winner. It's really the first thing I've actually won on my website, ewanagain.com. I have it in the about page and in the bio or whatever. It says I wrote like I'm an award-winning illustrator. That award that I'm referencing, the one single like art-based award I've ever won in my life, was when I was in my early to mid 20s, and it was in Games Workshop in a Warhammer model painting competition. The only other person in the category that was a finalist that I was in was a 14-year-old boy, and I was at least like 9 or 10 years older than him, and I trounced him in the painting competition, and I lost it since, but I got like a little golden elf miniature as a trophy, like on a little plinth thing, which is quite cool. It's nothing major, but they have a painting competition going on. There was for like Warhammer 40k single miniature, Warhammer 40k big monster, Warhammer 40k diorama, and then the same for Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and some other ones. And so I entered into, I think it was Warhammer 40k big miniature. I did like I had an ogre miniature, and I sculpted it to be like a blue Hellboy ogre, like a big stone fist and sawn off horns and stuff and a big beard. I sculpted bits onto it and then painted it all blue, so it was like light blue glowy skin, and it was really, really cool. That's lost to time as well, so whatever. But yeah, so I beat that 14-year-old in that painting competition, and I considered that my award, as my in my bio, an award-winning artist. That was my one award. But now, I've fucking... So that's cool. I got an actual thing, because it's like an established thing, and it was, a fucking thing. I'm an award-winning illustration champion. I put it in my Instagram bio before I left the building. I was like, oh, put that IWS illustration world champion 2023. But yeah, as I was saying, the photo I took of me with the trophy, I snuck that in like the day before the final. I was sat on, again, because I was streaming from the studio, they set up a little space for me outside of where they were sort of filming and stuff, and where they had pundits. They had some people talking on camera, sort of giving commentary during the competition. And they had me doing that for a little part of it here and there where I had time. And they had the trophy on the table in front of the people talking to camera. And so when the cameras were like off and we weren't live anymore and a couple of people had gone away, I was like, oh, tee, I'm going to get a picture of me with the trophy. Because then in my head I was thinking, so when I lose, at least I'll have this picture of me with the trophy and I can post it and like pretend I won and be like, haha, I'm running away with the trophy, it's mine. And then I won, so the trophy is mine. I don't have it. And that was another thing as well. It felt a bit weird and empty leaving because... I didn't get like a big check or anything. They don't, because they're photoshopping the check into a photo rather than printing out a big check for apparently environmental reasons, which does make sense. But also, it's cheaper to not print a massive check. I didn't leave with the trophy because it needs to be engraved and then it'll get sent to me. There's a medal that I think will be sent to me at some point. I've got to file an invoice and then wait an amount of time to get the prize money. So I left like empty-handed. I didn't even keep the artwork because they own that as part of the contract. But then they can sell prints of it and they can sell the actual artwork and then I'll receive some of the profits if that does happen. But yeah, so I just left with just my bags and my stuff and just like, I guess I won. I guess I'll go home empty-handed, but knowing I won. But saying that, I did have a phone full of congratulatory messages from people. So I'm very, very thankful to everybody for supporting me, for voting for me in the social votes. And the social votes, I know in my very first round, I won by 1/4 of a point. I won by 0.25 of a point, which apparently came from the social vote. So if the social vote didn't go my way, I could have lost the very first round, and that would have been tragic. So hooray for not losing in the first fucking round, I guess. Oh, that went down smooth. Oh, I can't remember when it was. I think whenever you last saw me drink whiskey on this podcast is probably the last time I drank whiskey. So it's been a minute. I had a couple of cocktails at Sam's. He makes them up real nice. He made this, they call it the bee's knees. I think it's like a honey and lemon cocktail. Really, really fucking nice. Sam made us a couple of those. Some like rum and cokes and stuff. Just, sitting down playing video games. It was not really gorgeous weather, but like scorchingly hot weather. So we were sat outside having these nice ice cold cocktails. It was pretty nice. My throat is killing me from that whiskey burn on the way down. Holy fuck. How did I take a shot right at the start? Anyway, welcome to the show. It's all about me this week. I mean, it's always about me every week, but specifically, what I thought I'd do is, while I'm here, just look at... I guess if you're a viewer of this podcast and you may not be aware of the Illustrated World series, I will very, very quickly... It has been an in-person event, but more recently it's been streaming online through COVID and stuff. That was very practical, and I think it is moving back into doing in-person events. It's a knockout tournament, so you have these days, they didn't always, but these days they have a digital version and a classic traditional version. I'm in the traditional version. They have 16 artists, each two. Do we have paper? I know this is obvious. I know you will probably know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain it, but just on the off chance someone wonders what the fuck I'm talking about, it may only be 2 people, maybe even 1 person, doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about, just for their benefit. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. These are all artists. And they fight each other. You get given a random headline from the news, and each of you have, you'll get given the headline like the day before, so you can prepare some sketches and ideas. Then come the event, you have an hour, and each of you, the 2 artists, have to illustrate that headline in like a cool, funny, interesting way. And after the hour, a panel of judges decides who wins, and that person goes through to the next round. Oh, I did that badly, didn't I? So this was Caton, I'd mentioned before, versus someone, and then me versus someone, and then some other shits. And then there was like Lawrence Hugh Burns and a bunch of other people. So the winner of this one went through. So say it was Caton, and then the winners. And so the winner of this one goes through. The winner of this one goes through. The winner of that one. The winner of that one goes through. And then there's two here, and whoever wins this one goes through, and this one goes through, this one goes through, and this one goes through. This is the final, and this was me and Lawrence. So that. Well, that really fucked my throat up. So that took place over 3 days, over a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You have an hour to draw the headline using black and white, and you can use grey as well. And you have to use one single other colour. You can't use more than one colour, and you have to use at least one colour. So if you use no colour, you can get disqualified. And if you use more than one colour, you can also get disqualified. I've seen both things happen, which is odd that people wouldn't know the most basic of basic rules. And I won because I'm the best, because I'm better than fucking everybody else. Where are we at? 16 minutes-ish. Okay, so I know where to put the images. I figured I'd take a look at my drawings I produced during the contest. I won't go into them in too much detail. So for my first round, it was this one, which is the headline I had to illustrate was something along the lines of couples are sleeping in separate rooms and here are the benefits. Couples, married or otherwise, sharing a home have in some places decided not to share a bed because it can fuck with your sleep, which I personally have issues with. I have terrible night's sleep if I share a room with someone, let alone a bed, because spending so much time alone constantly. The second I spend time with someone, it's the worst thing ever. My body can't adjust. So I drew Bert and Ernie from the Sesame Street Muppets, because normally they share a room, but here they're sleeping in separate rooms. So you've got Ernie being loud and obnoxious like a chainsaw, and then Ernie being loud and obnoxious like a chainsaw, and then Bert, hi Bert, sleeping soundly like a little kitten with his sleeping little alarm clock. And so I put them in like a house. I didn't really know. Oh, God, my throat hurts. My nose is... I'm falling apart. I might have won a contest, but I'm still a fucking decrepit old piece of shit. And then, so I barely won that first round. But I managed, somehow got through. And then the next round, the headline was something like new expeditions to Loch Ness. The people have been hearing strange noises coming from the loch, which maybe loch is just like a Scottish word for lake or something. Hey, yes, in the loch. You mean the lake? No, the loch. You fucking bastard. I fucking punch you. Fishing, man. I fuck you. So they heard strange noises coming from Loch Ness. So I was gonna draw the Loch Ness monster farting. But then I thought it made more sense to have a guy dressed as a Loch Ness Monster because the Loch Ness Monster isn't real. So I put a guy in a funny Loch Ness Monster costume, was trying to hold his breath and farting, and all his bubbles going up. And you can see the bubbles popping on the surface of the water, going pop! And the two little expedition guys with their audio equipment going, was that a fart? And you've got a fish laughing at him and a fish behind him covering his nose because of the smelly farts. That was one of my favourites in terms of the pictures I drew. And I think the first one, I was like, oh, I could win, I could not. This second one, I was like, I've got this in the bag. This is a cool drawing, and I've won, no problem. The third one, I was not happy with this drawing at all. And this was one where I had zero ideas, and I had one idea and I tried to draw it in a few different ways and I couldn't think of anything else, so I just had to go with it. The story was this place in Portugal, a winery, like just burst open, and apparently literally millions of litres or like hundreds of thousands of gallons of wine flooded these streets in Portugal. Excuse me. Ugh, I'm congested, I'm sorry. So you've got the guy at the top saying, oh no, my wine. And I was going to have him saying like, oh no, my wine is sacre bleu. because then I wanted it to be like, oh no, my wine, sacre bleu, what is happening? But I couldn't really translate that into a drawing, so I just put, oh no, my wine. And there's big barrel of vino wine spilling, creating a flood, and then you've got a guy diving into it, a guy in his car, because it was a flood, not just some wine in the road. And they've all got wine glasses, and there's a woman, a wine mum, I guess, with 2 wine glasses, and then a guy chilling in a rubber ring with a wine glass, and a drunk duck in the front. He's got bubbles coming out of his head because he's all drunk on wine. That one, I was sure I wasn't going to win. I wasn't happy with the drawing overall. The composition was okay. I think I felt like there was just too much going on, too many lines and just too many bits and pieces. It didn't feel cohesive. So I was not confident about that one at all. And then they announced the winners on Instagram in the stories, and basically, if you see that Illustrated World Series has posted a new story and you don't get notified, that means you haven't won. But if you get a notification, it says they mentioned you in the story. And that means you have won. I think that's how it works. That's usually how it works. And so I got the notification saying they've mentioned you. I click on it and it says I won. And I was just like, fuck! Like I loudly said, this was on the Sunday, the 3rd day. I was just in the room on my own. It was getting dark, and I was just there like, oh God, I haven't won, fuck. And they had given us the final headline right there and then, before announcing the results of this round, so that everyone could prepare a piece just in case they won. As I wasn't going to prepare a piece for the final because I thought, oh, I'm not going to win, so why bother? And then they announced the winner, and I was like, oh fuck, it's me, I've got to actually prepare a piece. So then it was the final. It was me against Lawrence. It was me against fucking Lawrence. And where I was on camera talking, I had spent quite some time talking about how much I despise Lawrence and I hope terrible things happen to him between now and the final, so I just go through automatically or something. The headline for this one was the problems with being the only single person in your friend group. So I've got the single person in the middle being all like gloomy and grumpy and mad, squeezing his drinks cup while everyone around him is happy in love and making out. And I put real fucking effort into this one. I only spent about maybe 10 to 20 minutes coming up with the idea and the composition and everything. Just scribbling out ideas. But I was more or less happy with the direction I was going, and I just had, all I could do was get it down. I just had to just do it. But yeah, I put real effort into just everything really, like the eyes, the love heart eyes on the 2 people in the top. I really tried to like make those look cool instead of just drawings of hearts, and I used my pink biro on top of the pink highlighter to make the darker hearts around them. Tried to do their bodies and the lines in their clothing and stuff quite good. And I tried to use, you can see like rim lighting around the guy in the centre, with the gloomy clouds around him and the pink fluffy clouds around the lovers above him. And then the people in front, like right up close, making out the tongues, real effort into the detail of those 2 tongues wrapping around each other and shimmering with moisture and their pink noses touching. And the lighting around them just to bring them out a bit more. And I was careful to put a hand really close because I know I can draw hands quite well. So I figured if I put a hand in there and I draw it well, it will look cool in the picture and add to it, along with the lighting and everything. So that was a conscious choice. And I was really, really trying. Like the other ones, I was like, I've just got to get it drawn. I've just got to draw it. But with this one, I was like, I've got to draw it and it has to be fucking good. And then I drew the banner thing on the bottom left. About midway through, and then left it blank, and then right in the very last minute when we had literally like 60 seconds to go, I wrote in Ewan and Lawrence forever, just to show that despite all my harsh words, there's really no hard feelings, especially since I won. But then I didn't know I was going to win. I was sure I wasn't. And then fucking Mark, the organizer, he was telling like the tech team who had won, and to put their name up on the thing ready for it to be announced. But then he walks past the little room I was in and goes, commiserations, mate, I'm sorry, it just, that's how it goes sometimes. And I was like, fuck, okay, again, I didn't win, Lawrence won, fine, whatever. And so he's talking to the other people, but what he was obviously doing was like saying out loud no, Ewan's not going to want to talk to the camera. He's just going to want to go home. So don't worry, we'll get the other guy on and whatever. But then he was slyly like winking and nudging to the people he was talking to. So I was, because of him doing that on purpose just to get at me, I was fully in like about to be horribly depressed mode. I'd gathered my bags, packed them all up. I hit the button on the elevator. The elevator doors were literally about to open as they were announcing the winner, and I could hear it behind me. And I was so ready to hear the L of Lawrence being announced as the winner. And then the guy goes, and the winner is Uncle You. And I was just like, you fuck you, Mark, for making. He absolutely made me believe I hadn't won. And if I was sat there for a bit longer than I really wanted to be, and if I'd left 30 seconds or a minute earlier, I'd been in the elevator at the bottom of the building, probably out the door by the time they'd actually announced the winner. They'd have had to have fucking screamed out the window or run downstairs and come and got me back up to be like, you won, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? Because he fucking made me believe I'd lost. And I was so certain I wouldn't win because, history dictates that I don't. But I'm the fucking best, so of course I won. Well, here's a fucking sketchbook. This is old. This is fucking old. As you may recall, we've looked at some past sketchbooks recently, going from like full colour ballpoint to less full colour ballpoint, and now we're in like there's some colour ballpoint in here, but not the 4-colour pink and purples that we're used to. This is way before any of that. This is maybe around the time I actually won that painting competition that I mentioned. Maybe 23, 24 years old, which would make this 10, 12 years old maybe, which would make it 2011, maybe 2012, because I graduated university in 2011, so this may have been 2012. A nice suede cover. This is a weird one. I think this was a gift from somebody. Like a hard-ish suede cover. It's like moleskin-ish, but not quite. The paper's a bit better than moleskin. Tattered as fuck. But yeah, this shit, I think I was figuring out... this would have been 2012, because 2013, I think I went to that Comic-Con with some friends that we got a table together, and so I was trying to work out which pages to put in my portfolio to take along. So that was all of this shit, goblins and dread and other stuff. And then the drawings. Now, as I've said, this is old, so the drawings are not going to be my best. Some of them are going to be quite cool, some of them are going to be cringe. I am going to be cringing at some of these. Some like muscly ogre guy in a crop top and hot pants with a skateboard. I don't know, whatever. Guns and shit. Muscly men and guns and shit. That's literally nothing's ever changed. I'm the same boring person I always was. I don't know if I've still got any copies of it. I made like a little 10-page comic called Mascot Day Massacre, which was like a theme park, and there were all these like random mascots around, people in like teddy bear outfits and fuzzy monster costumes and stuff. And then all of the mascots just go psycho and start shooting everybody, mostly shooting each other, and a few other people die in the crossfire and whatnot. And that's what these guys were from. And then these are just other weird muscly men with guns and shit, just doing their thing. Oh, and there was basically the first page from Mascot Day Massacre. I had almost none experience drawing comics at this point, so any comics you see, keep that in mind. You can't really tell any of what's going on. It's supposed to be a guy in a big funny like monster alien costume with a big load of balloons, and he's giving a balloon to a little girl here, and then someone chucks a cup of drink at him, a soda or a slushie, and it goes splosh on the back of his head. And there's a guy with a dog face. And then, so there's the big monster face here, and you can see the human face inside just mad as fuck. and obviously the punk kid that threw the drink is like, "Wee, fuck you," and so then he's grabbed the kid's feet and he's picking him up, looking up at him and just swinging him up in the air, and that is what sort of sparks off the whole Mascot Day Massacre. Whew. In my portfolio, I had a 6-page story I did based on a sample script for 2000 AD. Not officially, I didn't send it to them. I just did it for the sake of doing it. A 6-page Dread story. I'd never really drawn Dread before, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Hence, this god-awful, weird, static, boring-looking Dread. Like, so, like... I didn't even know how to draw his helmet right. There's all these, like, practice drawings, but they're just garbage, man. Just really, really bad. Trying to draw him, like, standing and shooting. See, if I was going to do that now, it'd be Dread's head would be here, and he'd be leaned back like that, and he'd have his gun out, his head here. Frowny face, chin, shoulder pad, his rib cage, his back, his tummy, his belt, and then his arm, and the gun, his big hand with the gun. It would be like so much more dynamic instead of I am shooting you with a gun. That's how you draw like anime when you're 14 years old, because you think you know how to draw shit and really you don't. And so there's going to be quite a bit of that of me practicing my Dread and just not getting it right, just really not. I mean, it's a good job I didn't send in my 6-page strip. I mean, they wouldn't have gotten back to me. I'd never have heard from them again, so it wouldn't really matter. But just the embarrassment of like, oh, they would have looked at it and there's going to be a lot of that. I'm cringing now as I say it. What is this? What's going on? See, I didn't even know. So Dread's helmet, not his penis. Don't be rude. He's got the eye bits like this, and then this like cross bit here, and then it goes like in and then down, and then around. And his like nose is here and his mouth is here and whatever. But then I was drawing it for some reason. I don't even know. I was getting this cross bit here, and then like this, which like isn't hugely different, but it's wrong enough to really stand out. Like, it doesn't look like a good Dread head and helmet. It looks closer to the fucking Sylvester Stallone Dread than anything else. This was trying to be like an Incredible Hulk, but with Dread stuff on. Can I maybe so I guess the idea here was like if you have Dread's helmet here, not his penis, stop saying that, his hat helmet and his gritted teeth, and then he has this shoulder pad that has the like lines on it, and then a big muscly Hulk hand in a fist, and his back going up here with his little torn shorts and his feet. And then in my head he was like on some like stone slab or something, and then it said the Incredible, and it would say the Incredible Dread, and then this hand is like a fist. But you know, the idea would be that it's drawn better than that, and then like a shadow coming down the stone slab or whatever. And even that, you can see how much better I can draw now in like 10 seconds than I could draw back then with all the time in the world. There's a guy in a judge costume with like a bucket helmet squirting Dread with a water gun, and then Dread fucking socking him in the face. That's funny, isn't it? This is all layouts for that. God, it's taken me forever just to get through fucking 5 pages. This was layouts for that Dread strip, the 6-page one. It starts with like a hooker on the floor, and then you realise it's in a bedroom, and or a front room, a living room, with a guy who has killed the hooker, who is his wife, who's this kid's mother, and he's got like a bit of broken glass to the kid's throat, and he's like, do it, Judge, you won't do it, I'll kill the kid. And then Judge Dredd from the front shoots him. And then a whole bunch of other shit happens. And that's just me working out those pages, trying to do a comic literally for the first time, really. I'd done tiny little bits of comic here and there just for my own fun and games, I guess. Parts of this aren't that bad. This is like a corridor and he's beating the shit out of some other cadets that are like bullying him while he's at the Judge Academy. And here he's in class studying while no one else around him is studying. And this is like looking up at him as he's beating the shit out of a cadet with his billy club. And some of these panels aren't that bad. They could be certainly worked and used. And then the other ones, and then so there's a lot of like mirroring, because the whole point is, I think the title of the 6-page piece was Cycle of Violence, because then he grows up to continue the cycle of violence from his dad, and so there's another dead hooker which like mirrors the dead hooker from before, and yeah, it cycles the violence from the cycle of violence. Certainly wasn't, again, there are this usable parts of this that I could certainly take and reuse and make better, but I won't, because I don't give a fuck. And then it ends with Dredd shooting the grown-up cadet, because he's grown up. He saw Dredd kill his dad, which was a good thing because his dad was abusive and horrible. So he was like, I want to be a judge. Then he went through the academy, became a cadet, ended up becoming a judge. And he was there was a dead hooker, then he found the guy who killed the hooker, and it reminded him of his dad, so he just beat the shit out of the guy instead of taking care of him properly. Judge Dredd shows up, and he's like, you're a bad judge, you've got to go. And he's like, no, you've got to. So Judge Dredd, this is supposed to mirror where he shoots his dad, and he ends up shooting the kid, and he's grown up to become a judge. So it's like a cycle of, you get it. And this is designs for the grown-up kid and the Judge Dredd. And again, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with any of the designs, and just like, you can look at that and go, no, that's quite good. It's not bad. I was using a brush and ink to like be professional. Some of the lines are quite good, some aren't. But on the whole, it's just trying to draw his gun and whatever. And then I did a front cover for it, like a painted cover. So in the portfolio, there'd be like, and I photoshopped the 2000 AD logo on top, so it was like a proper 2000 AD cover. And I wanted like a kid wearing a full-sized judge suit, so it was all big and wrinkly on him. I don't know. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. Jesus. So there's a lot of that in here. Just literally figuring out how the fuck to draw like Dredd from behind firing a gun, and Dredd from the front, and should he be from above firing his gun or from behind firing his gun. Just working shit out, which is what sketchbooks are for, innit? As Dredd firing his gun. So I was getting a bit better at drawing, still didn't get his helmet right, but not his paint. Stop with that, come on. The Incredible Dredd, look at that. Well, he's mutating, his jaw's going, then his suit's ripping open at the back where his muscles are growing, and then he's burst out of his suit going, it says Gamma! Rah! The Incredible Dredd. I don't know who this guy is. I think he was part of the Mascot Day Massacre, just this funny, round little guy, who really isn't a mascot, he's an alien, obviously copied from the from the Max, but fucking whatevs. Just guys with guns. Let's play. These are some mascots for the Mascot Day Massacre. So you've got a kid here, like a kid in front of this big shadow of a teddy bear, and then he pulls the teddy bear head off, and he's pointing a gun at the kid, and then he shoots the kid in the face. That was basically what Mascot Day Massacre was going to be like. And Mascot Day Massacre would be fun to do like nowadays, especially if I could do it, like if I can get the time to paint it. To do, like a 10 to 20 page, like a single issue of Mascot Day Massacre, painted in like bright colours with all the costumes and the blood and stuff. That'd be fun. I reckon I could do that. But that'd be one of those things that's like, if I get 2 months off to work on something that's not Gun Viking or Death Fist or commissions or something else, then I could do something like Mascot Day Massacre. It would be a pretty decent little like single, a one-shot little comic. There's some dooms. Schwiggity swag. Some weird dread drawing. I quite like that for what it is. It's a bit goofy, but it's kind of fun. Guns still on the dread, and this kid who grew up to be a judge, still on that, just trying to like not perfect it, but trying to get some shit going. More mascots, a Mickey looking mascot, a bunny mascot getting shot, a bunch of people with guns. That's all it is. It's just guns and more guns. These are page layouts for the Mascot Day Massacre, I think. Someone getting a knife in his head, someone getting blown apart, a bunch of goblins. These pages look quite cool as sketchbook pages, just as that. The actual drawings themselves are questionable and a bit meh, but as sketchbook pages, I like the layouts and like the sections and bits and drawings and the amount of ink on each page and stuff. These are very visually pleasing to me as whole images. This was sort of my idea for the cover. So you've got the kid looking mean and angry in the big oversized dread suit with a gun, and then like Dread's head behind him. And then I think I had like childish drawings, like this, like a child's drawing of Judge Dredd and stuff in the background. Hulk. It's a Hulk. It's not the Hulk, but it's a just big burly Hulk. Hulk Mash. The Incredible Mash. Maybe that could be my, I have fucking Flesh Bob, Gun Viking, Death Fist. My next character can be the Incredible Mash. Obviously, a Hulk ripoff, but fucking whatever. This is, I don't know if it's Mascot Day Massacre or something like that. A guy with guns, and then a mascot runs past him, and then the guy with guns points a gun, and then the mascot has his head blown off. Of course, why wouldn't you? Bunch of drawings of like the Hulk and stuff. Not good drawings, but you can see what's going on. Bodies and hulking muscles and Batman, I guess. A chicken mascot guy with a gun. So that's primarily this is Judge Dredd, Mascot Day Massacre, and there is some Zach Ridley in here, I think, as well. This was like a weird Judge Dredd little strip I had in mind, where he's just like in the darkness, then there's eyes behind him, and it ends up being this huge monster, and he has to shoot his way past the big monster. I ended up turning that into my own mini Zach Ridley strip at the back of the first Zach Ridley book, which is a thing. Then we got green. I think there's quite a lot of green in this book. Green Hulk bodies. This is where I was beginning to like get my grasp on big muscly anatomy. It's not perfect, but some good drawings. Again, another good couple of looking pages as a whole. A Hulk shake. Hulk's ass with Hulk across the ass. Yeah, very, very little of this is like on point or perfect, but you can see I was growing and developing, and I was getting there. This was a getting there sketchbook. This wasn't a shit sketchbook. It's not an amazing sketchbook. It's a getting there sketchbook. More mascots, I guess. A big burger costume mascot. Bunny, chicken, bear, alien thing, a lizard, a big head man. This is one of my favourites, actually. He just had a big head and like really long sleeves. I just thought that was a funny mascot. Like not a mascot of anything, but just like a big head and long sleeves, and that's it. A turtle. This guy is a totem pole mascot with a face there, and then this nose is almost like his penis. That's funny. Robot comic. I think I had an idea here for doing like a series of like short comic strips, like Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes style short comic strips about a robot trying to live in a human world. And so I think in this one, he's trying to get a cat out of a tree, and to do it, he like shoots the shit out of the tree. And then I wasn't sure if I had him kill the cat accidentally and then carry the dead cat to the old woman or whatever, or he does all that and you think the cat's going to be dead, but actually the cat's alive. And then just every strip has the robot trying to do a basic human thing but failing because he doesn't get it because he's a robot, and usually ending in at least one or many people's deaths. So that's funny. And then have maybe at the end of some or all of them have like the robot going, like shrugging, going, uh-oh, silly me, I don't know what I'm doing. And the robot clearly like copying Ashley Wood robot styles, because I have no ideas of my own. I just copy them from everywhere else. More of the same, more of the same. Some Adventure Time stuff. Finn and Jake action. Dread helmets and shit. Mario and Luigi. Just a bunch of stuff. Or Dread drawings. Oh, you can see I'm getting better with the helmet. I'm actually drawing it almost properly. There are moments like this though, where this is like, if this was one panel, that's quite cool. You got Dread cropped with his shoulder pad and stuff, and the city in the background. That's not terrible. It's usable. Oh, at the same time I was doing Zach Ridley, I had the Marcosia, the publisher, had sent me another sample script to like, oh, maybe you could work on this also. And it was basically like Frankenstein super soldiers that were like, the army made these giant like sewn together super soldiers, and they had like robotic parts and, you know, stitched together anatomy and stuff. And so I was doing a few I guess rough concept sketches for how I might draw those, which is all taken from like Simon Bisley, Terminator and that sort of thing. Just, yeah, big muscles and guns. I guess the guy at Marcosia, I think his name's Harry, saw my stuff and was like, yeah, muscles and guns, we can use that. I ended up not doing anything with that other comic because I was working on Zach Ridley at the time. And these were the first ever like Zach Ridley drawings. And so, yeah, I just didn't have time to do another comic book at the same time I was doing Zach Ridley, because I was working almost solidly, like day after day on Zach Ridley for like 6 months straight. I didn't have a job. I was living at home. I wasn't really paying rent. I was where I could, but really I wasn't. And so luckily I was able to just spend every day painting Zach Ridley, which I've gone over and over and over, and, you know, I dislike a lot of it, but I'm happy with some of it, and I'm glad I got to do it because the whole thing was very much a learning process for me. So, yeah, I'm glad for Zach Ridley, even if it didn't really amount to... I don't know, I just don't feel like it reached the highest potential that it possibly could have. But that's my own fucking whatever. This is one of the characters in Zach Ridley, or a couple of them, I guess, a couple of the lady characters, just designs for them. Business and casual. Zach and Penny the Woo instead of Winnie the Pooh. That's funny, isn't it? Slain, Spider-Man, Zach Ridley, a panda with guns and a cigarette in his mouth. Yeah, this was one of the bounty hunters in Zach Ridley, and I think I just straight up traced that and painted it as one of the like chapter divider chapter covers or whatever. Some designs for like the front cover. A street shark. I think that's Cammy from Street Fighter, but really badly done. Oh no, that's someone. It's because that's a girl I painted doing a cosplay of someone, and that's the same girl cosplaying Cammy, and I drew that, but never did anything with that. I love pages like this. Just, it looks so good as a sketchbook page because it's not trying to be like, oh, it's a sketchbook, I'll make it look nice. It's just cover design, character, heads, little sketches. A lot, actually, I was going to church at the time of this, and I had a girlfriend in church, which is where a lot of these like little notes come from. It's her sitting next to me in church while I'm sat there drawing, listening to fucking Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And so a lot of this is literally me just sat there with my left hand on my face, holding my head up, and my right hand just doodling fucking nonsense and whatever, just to get through the fucking time at church. More Zach Ridley stuff. Just stuff. I like these pages as sketchbook pages. They are interesting to look at. weird aliens and dungeon drawings, trolls and weird guys, funny men with swords, dragons and shit. Superman, I guess. Fuck knows what's going on. Got shit. Some orc kind of drawings, weird tentacle eyeball things and creatures, goblins and things. Some graph. Always got to have some graph in there. I was trying to do a bunch of goblins like Ren and Stimpy style because I thought that would be really funny. Like Ren and Stimpy, but goblins. Which could still work, if I were to develop that. I don't know. A rabbit with guns, a space rabbit. You could argue that turned into Goblinsky, the space goblin. Maybe. Zach Ridley, that turned into quite a cool drawing that was used in the book towards the back just as like a random page filler. Zach Ridley lighting a cigarette and he's got pouches and like a teddy bear on his belt and stuff. Some Finn and Jake. Mysterio, I think. There you go, so Ren, Stimpy. A smiling dread, I don't know. What the fuck that is. Another cool spread, I like this. Just loads of random heads and stuff. Some cool shading, some really silly little doodles. Little like judge badges and shoulder pads and things going on. Really, you like that dread head. Again, not perfect, but compared to, say, these early ones, the progression is like there's miles and miles of difference. Look at this shit here, and then that shit here. Like that's worlds apart, and that all takes place within one book. A very early Gun Viking drawing. I might have to scan that and show that off because that's like crazy early. This is before I developed Gun Viking as a thing. I was just drawing. I did a few drawings of Vikings with guns because I thought it was cool. And I wanted to do like a movie poster, so you've got the Viking here in like half in shadow, and then like double exposured is him firing guns. I might still use that as a cover or something. That'd be quite cool. Let me put a post-it note in there. One of my zillions of post-it notes, because give it a little arrow. GV. Ginger vagina. That's what GV stands for. Skull in a floating, like floaty head skull space alien thing. A lizard. There's some cool stuff. Some cool little concepts and designs and things. Some cool little drawings of. Again, this is when I'm sat in church, just literally drawing shapes and turning them into skulls, fitting them in between other drawings. I think this was stolen from Crumb. Hellboy, the Star Wars fucking guy. That turned into the Gun Viking that I made a sticker of with a pistol in this hand and that same face. I obviously traced that to do the actual painting. I don't know if I've got any copies. No, I don't think so. Not that would have that in it. Well, you know what it is. Big muscly guy with a floating skull head and a flaming sword. That's cool. That's a Viking who I guess later became Gun Viking. Muscly guy with a floating skull head and a flaming sword. That's really cool. Like, it's not brilliant, it's not perfect, but it's a really cool drawing. I quite like the ink work of that. I was using these like an actual drawing pen for that, like this sort of thing, but not like a brush pen. But... And then, so originally, you may or may not be aware, Gun Viking was going to be several different Vikings. It was going to be almost like a team. There was going to be like a Viking superhero, a different Viking who used guns, and then then a Viking who would have had multiple arms and blue skin and an axe in each hand, I think. So this was going to be the superhero Viking. So you can see the green is like his costume, which is basically Gun Viking's costume. And he's got like a guy jumping onto his neck or whatever. And then like a wizard hat, Viking helmet with the big V on his chest, which was used in the original Gun Viking. See-through skeleton man. Old fucking gun Viking drawings. Wow, I completely like forgot those were in here. And still, he wasn't labelled gun Viking at this point. He was just like this. So yeah, so this one's got a V on his chest because this is the Viking hero, big red V like the red S of Superman. The mask like a superhero mask, and a superhero pose. I still really like that drawing. That's a really cool pose and everything. And then this was a separate one, a Viking with a gun. So they'd be on the same team or whatever. A wolf head boy, I don't know, some skeleton men, see-through skeleton men. I was drawing a lot of those at the time. Not a brilliant drawing, but not a terrible drawing. A Viking with a gun. Cool skeleton, that's quite cool. Bunch of heads and shit. Filling in that church time. Gotta make it go as quick as possible. The hero Viking, that's kind of cool. His arm out here, like a weird proportions, like zoomed in or zoomed out and looking up at him. I don't know, Unga Bunga, caveman, Viking with guns. It's all led to what we know and love as gun Viking now. Axes and Vikings and guns, oh my! I forgot there was all this gun Viking stuff in here, like gun Viking. That was quite cool. A little fire elf guy, fire gnome. A little orange man with a flame coming out of his forehead in like a hood, and he's got his belt and axes and swords and stuff. A little D&D character type guy. It's quite a neat little design. I like that. Little bit of concept work in there. Bringing in some red. There you go. That's like almost, it could be straight from the comic if it wasn't done way before the comic. That's a cool little gun. And my girlfriend at the time, she said I love you, and I said I read you to her because I read ink. I don't know. That's basically Gun Viking's face, his body here, his head and his arms, his belt with axes in it. I wanted to make that more of a thing in the comic, but I think I started doing that, but then it just got to be a pain in the arse drawing all those axes all the time, so I just stopped. And I really did sort of like break him down to his basics of like get rid of the red V, all the axes on his belt, and just have him as him. For one thing, it's easier to draw, but it's also you do sort of cut away the stuff that is more or less unnecessary. Like if he can pull guns out of nowhere, he doesn't need axes all over his belt because he can pull them out of nowhere. Then sometimes I'll draw him with axes in his belt just because I fancy it, even if it's in the comic or not. And sometimes I won't. But yeah, the big popper. I think this almost looks better than it did in the comic. Maybe I should do a whole comic of ballpoint gun Viking. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? That's a cool gun Viking pose. He's farting. He's got one gun up and one firing off to the side. I probably had a fucking Bible here, and then I was just drawing around it during like some study class or something. God damn. Do 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 rinkity do rinkity dee ratata do 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 do. Oh, smooth, tasty, smooth, good, yummy, good. Oh, I love drinking like a man because I'm a manly man, big manly man. That's why I drink whiskey, because I'm a man. I live in the manosphere because I'm an alpha male. Did you know that? Did you know Ewan is the name Ewan actually means alpha male. In the ancient Scottish alphabet, the ancient, Highland Scots alphabet, E is actually the first letter of the alphabet. So, alpha, because it goes alpha, beta, Sierra, alpha. Oh, it doesn't go alpha, beta. It goes alpha, Bravo, Sierra, Dick, egg fart. E is basically the alpha of Scots, the ancient Scot language, and so the name Ewan, starting with E, is actually means big, giant, dicked alpha male, and that's why my parents named me Ewan, because they went, "Whoa, look at the size of this baby's dick! It's enormous. He's clearly going to be a huge, like, massive alpha male guy as he grows up. So let's give him a big alpha male guy's name." In the classic style of the ancient Scots language, which is Ewan. And that's how Ewan got his name. Which is all lies, of course. Don't for a second start thinking, "Oh my god, is that true? I never knew that about Scottish language. I thought it was not the case." I don't. Yeah, I only say that for the benefit of, like, there might be someone in America who has no reason. I'm not calling them ignorant. They are, but I'm not calling them ignorant in this instance. I'm saying they have no reason to be aware of Scottish heritage and ancient Scots traditions and stuff. And so if I talk about, like, ancient Scot languages, they might be like, "Oh shit, okay, Gaelic, is that one? Is that Irish? Gaelic might be Irish. Gaelic, that's alpha as well. It's alpha to have sex with men and to lick their taints. So a gay lick. Celtic. Oh, okay, yeah, relating to the Gaelic group of Celtic languages, particularly the Celtic language of Scotland. It is Scottish, Gaelic. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Irish, but no, I was correct. Yeah, so people might not be aware of, like, ancient Gaelic language and traditions. And then if I start saying the E was actually the first letter of the alphabet in there, then some people might believe that, because why would Ewan lie? Ewan wouldn't tell a lie. Ewan doesn't tell fibs. Everything Ewan says is true. I listen to him and believe everything he says implicitly, just on the basis of him being the wonderful champion that he is. Ugh, whiskey burps. Yuck. I do have I had a big penis when I was a baby. My penis was the size it is now when I was a baby. So it's not like I had a massive penis and it just grew and grew as I grew and grew. I had an adult-sized penis when I was a baby, and now I still have an adult-sized penis. And it looks smaller in comparison because my body's gotten bigger. Especially lately. But, yeah... Babies with big dicks. So here's something I was thinking about the other day. I realised it was unrelated to this. It was a thought that sort of... I can't remember the genesis of this thought coming into my mind. But it is, in a way, it can be sort of exemplified in it relating somewhat to how... are you aware of all how... I don't know if it's true, if it was written to be such, but it can be said that all of the characters from the Winnie the Pooh stories in the past all relate in some way to, like, different psychopathies. Not psychopathies, but, like, psychiatric issues, mental health issues, psychiatric ailments and stuff. So I think Winnie the Pooh is said to have ADHD. Tigger is definitely ADHD and hyperactivity disorder. Eeyore is depression and a bunch of other shit. Is it Rabbit? One of them is has narcissistic personality disorder. So yeah. And then Christopher Robin, I think, is like some personality disorder because he's the one imagining all these goddamn stuffed animals as being real or whatever. Which is, it's one of those things that's like, oh, was it written like that? Or was it... And with zero research, I'm going to assume that no, it wasn't written like that. It was just a kid's story, and, you know, certain attributes of certain characters, you know, it's written richly enough that the characters have character and they have personality. It's not just a donkey. It's a donkey who's perpetually sad, and he loses his tail and it has to be nailed back on, and he tries to build a little house of sticks and it falls down, and he's just, it's just, that's his lot in life, and he's not happy with it, but he accepts it for what it is. And all the others, they all have different personalities. They're not just cartoon animals. It was actually, writing when writing was good. Remember that? In the same way to how, like, people go, whoever made this weird cartoon must have been on crazy drugs. Oh, they must have been high the whole time. I mean, no, it's called creativity. It's called having an imagination. Sorry that you don't have one, and you can only think that people can have these ideas. They can only come up with these ideas by being high. But no, people can come up with all kinds of crazy ideas without any sort of influence of drugs or anything else at all. It's called being creative. Look it up sometime. You watch my videos and learn all about being creative, because I'm so creative. Look, it's a goblin with two heads, but it's like one head on top of the other instead of, like typically if you drew a two-headed thing, it's like two heads next to each other. But he's got a head and then another head on top of the other head. You can stack them up and up and up and up and up forever and ever. But you can't, because there's only two of them, so that would be silly. So in a similar vein to the whole Winnie the Pooh characters representing different maladies, is that a word? I know all these words, but I don't know what the fuck they mean. Maladies. A disease or ailment. Yeah, okay. I already used the word ailment, and I didn't want to use that again. So maladies is just a synonym of ailment or disease. So yeah, all these different mental maladies. God, I know so many words. I've still got 100% on Wordle. I'm now, because I got the 555 wins on Wordle, and I'm now going for 666. Fuck yeah! Gonna get the number of the beast. Fucking metal and shit. I realised, I have a bunch of different characters in my little universe of creativity, as I've expressed. And I did realise the other day, almost out of nowhere, I just had a random thought that each of them does sort of represent a different part of me and my mental health, my struggles with various things. I wrote a list. Not a very deep and detailed list. Is that? Where's the top of this? Oh, it's there. Plenty of space. It's all good. Right. So Gun Viking is the big obvious one. Well, not the big obvious one, but he's one of the more well known of my characters. If you've read all of the current existing Gun Viking, you may be aware a lot of it is largely based on childhood trauma and overcoming that trauma, and going through childhood trauma that leads you down some possibly not so great paths in life and leads to some, maybe bad behaviours and habits, and then realising that at some point in your life, and then doing your best to sort of overcome that fact and to try to break the cycles of abuse and trauma, and to really do something about it and fix it. And that's Gun Viking literally started as guns and muscles is fun to draw and paint, and look, he's so fucking cool, big muscle Viking when he's a super hero and he's got fucking guns and but in making it more of a thing, more of a comic, and adding story elements to it, I sort of developed the background of Gun Viking's character and whatnot, and ended up putting it into the context of overcoming childhood trauma, which he did. There's in, I think it's issue 4, there's a black and white flashback sequence where it shows the trauma he sort of went through as a child that led him to becoming what he is today as Gun Viking. And throughout that issue and the following issue, he became almost a bad guy, a straight up bad guy. exhibiting behaviours that he ought not really do exhibit. So he's now, as the story stands, he's sort of on his way to trying to fix that and overcome that trauma and make shit better for himself. Better for himself and those around him. And that's, it's not directly based on me and my life, but it certainly is something some kind of something I've had to deal with in my time. And so I do sort of put that experience into the story and try to tell a story not about my childhood trauma, but about childhood trauma as a thing that, people have to deal with. So that's it's inadvertently come out in the comic. Death Fist is in the eight page teaser of Death Fist. It's not too apparent, but as the story goes on, it will become very apparent that it is largely based on anxiety and no, I was going to say xenophobia, but it's not xenophobia. Agoraphobia. A fear of being outside, fear of the outside world, and a whole bunch of shit like that. Fear and anxiety disorders are going to play a big part in. I'd say about halfway through Death Fist, it will really get into that sort of stuff, and you'll go, "Oh, the story certainly has taken a turn. What happened to all the fun, exciting action? It's boring now." That's probably what you'll say when you read it. And then the Pink Man, not Pinkman, not Jesse Pinkman, this guy, is loneliness and depression. Mostly depression, but loneliness is sort of part of that. Whenever I draw him, it's sort of, I do, not whenever necessarily, but a lot of times if I draw him, it's usually to express, like he's almost a stand-in for me if I want to do like an autobiographical little funny comic strip or something. I will use that guy rather than draw me specifically, because he is like an everyman. He's just human, he is human, and therefore he struggles with being human, the human condition, and life as a person on this fucking planet, since we live in a society. And so he expresses certain attributes and elements of loneliness and depression, and I often will show him murdering people, usually women, but it's what it is, and that's almost always out of loneliness and depression and desperation. Not condoning it, not saying it's allowable because it's not his fault. He's depressed and he doesn't know. Just it is what it is. This murder, it just is what it is. Fucking deal with it, bitch. So that's the Pink Man, the Pinkman, the Jesse Pinkman of it all. And then there's Flesh Bob, who is violent, murderous. I've got impulses circled. Maybe that's not the right word. Violent, murderous sort of thoughts and feelings that I have. Well, we all get them from time to time, but I feel like I deal with that a lot. As very, very violent thoughts very regularly in my brain. Is very hard. Not hard to deal with them sometimes, but it can get a lot, honestly. It can get to be quite a lot. Having a head just full of violent thoughts all the time. And so I sort of express those and almost exercise them like a demon through Flesh Bob, because he's just a little murderous maniac and he's just having a laugh. He enjoys it, and that's how I express those murderous thoughts, is because they're fun and exhilarating, and I just want to cave people's heads in with hammers. Multiple hammers, a hammer in each hand, and just fucking go at people. Fucking. But I thought that was interesting. It was interesting to me to like realise that, that's the thing I do without even thinking about it. I have sort of created a thing wherein I'm expressing these elements of my psyche through my art and my characters, without trying to, or without really expecting to, just doing it inadvertently. It just seems to have happened. And that's cool. I quite like that. And I've intended for a long time to do some sort of work specifically about mental illness. I've got various ideas of like sort of stories and comics I could make that talk about, or that are, don't necessarily just talk about it, but relate to, dealing with various forms of mental unwellness and things. Some of them more blatant and straightforward, and some of them more, metaphorical and whatever. But yeah, it turns out I sort of have kind of been doing that anyway, just not really realised it. And maybe I do worry sometimes that like, I need to put more of a message into some of my art. It needs to have more meaning and shit. But then maybe sometimes I don't need to worry about it because I do it without even realising. I mean, I realise, for instance, I put childhood trauma into Gun Viking. But it wasn't like, I'm going to make it a comic about childhood trauma. It's just sort of happened that way. And now if I try to get it published, I can say, oh, it's not just another crummy bummy superhero story. Because I know certain publishers, more independent sort of comic book publishers outwardly say they don't want to just publish more superhero stories or whatever, which is not just fine and cool, but absolutely a good thing. I'm with them on that. But then if I go to them with Gun Viking and be like, do you want to publish my book? They'll probably look at it and go, well, no, it's just, he looks kind of like a superhero and it's all muscles and guns. And I hope they take the time to read the thing and go, oh, okay, there's something to this. But if I can say if I send them a blurb about it, a little bit of text saying basically what the story is about, and say it's about overcoming childhood trauma and this and that. Also, there's a Viking and he has loads of guns and it's fun and exciting. Then they might take it a bit more seriously. It sounds kind of interesting and it's got some deep meaning to it. The artwork's cool for the most part. There's a goblin with 2 heads and 4 arms. That's come out really nice. I'm really happy with this. I was a bit like, I'll give it a little doodle, see what happens. I need to keep looking at the time so I know where to put the fucking thing. It's this drawing that from an older sketchbook, and while I was looking through that older sketchbook, I was like, oh, I really like that. I might have to do something with it. And so I'm doing something with it right now. Right fucking now! And you're witnessing it live. Well, not live, but fuck, whatever. Give a shit. I think my plan... See, all this stuff here in the background is supposed to be like foliage. Leaves and grasses and shit. Because I think I want to paint him in like a forested area. Like dirt floor, bits of tufts of grass, little mushrooms and shit around. Maybe a frog. This is a frog. That's what frogs look like. And then a lizard. Like a decent, like nice painting, almost like a Magic the Gathering card style painting, and the card could be called like Goblin, Goblinlin, or Goblin, or Goblin. That's quite a good one. Goblin. I don't want to put the word double goblin, sounds a bit... I like double dragon, but it's a fucking goblin, what the fuck? Where's my Tipex pen, where'd it go? Can you see my Tipex pen on... Oh no, because it's there. I worry that sometimes I'm looking for something on my desk on camera, and like you can maybe see it on camera, and you might be thinking, it's right in front of you, Ewan, you that's happened before. Not that anyone's said it, but I've realised the thing I'm looking for is right in front of me and was clearly visible on camera. Like I've gone back to edit episodes and been like, oh, this is the bit where I was looking for the thing. Oh, it was clearly, visibly right in front of me the whole time. Also, just for the just so it's clear, in the original drawing, um, the goblin has the drooly mouth underneath, and then the other mouth on top. But I thought the one that's more attached to the body would be the one that's more sort of sentient and has more control. And then the one on top is just sort of dumb and smiling and drooling and stuff. So he's got his tongue out and he's drooling into the other one's eye, and he's not happy about it. He's like, "Oh, this fucking guy, what the fuck." He's got a knife though, so that's cool. Yeah, so this is just a little sketchy sketch, but I like it, so I may well just straight up trace it and paint it as it is. Like I say, all foliage and shit in the background, and then if I'm happy with it, I might actually do a mock-up of like a magic card, because there are websites where you can. I did a Gun Viking one at some point, where you can like mock up your own Magic the Gathering cards. You just put any JPEG in and then whatever text and mana and stuff. And because that's in general, I think the Magic the Gathering cards they're this shape, and then the artwork is like a landscape image. It's not a square, but yeah, I think that could work if I make the painting biggish and then allow it to be cropped but keep him more visible. I think that would work pretty well. And then I could put that in my portfolio and send it to fucking Wizards of the whoever, or whoever currently owns Magic the Gathering, and be like, "Fuck, pay me, give me some work, and I'll paint you goblins. Fuck."